Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am filming another one in the series of videos where I talk about all the series I finish. I forgot what number we're on. Probably should have checked that before starting the video, but I'm gonna check it now. So this is actually number 7, which is quite a lot, and I wait until I finished around 15 series before filming this video. So let's go through them today, and I will try to be a bit faster than the other ones. I always use such a long time filming these, I don't know why. So this list goes from October to February, so I used all those months finishing 15 series. Not a surprise. And the first one on the list is the Galleons Trilogy by Varshney Chakshi. This consists of 3 books, obviously, since it's a trilogy. And it started off with the Guild Wolves and ended off with the Bronze Beast. It follows a group of characters that comes together as this found family, and they do different heists and solve different clues to find different, I would say, artifacts, because this society, also set in Paris, is like controlled, I would say, by different secret houses, and our main characters are like really involved in them, and then they need to do stuff. I struggle describing these books, but also I just think like it has so many elements to it, so it's also hard to describe. But yeah, it's a really good series with wonderful characters, beautiful writing, really beautiful atmosphere. And overall, like, I strongly enjoy the whole series. I think it goes in direction like you don't expect, has a lot of twists and turns, and the characters, they are just so amazing and great. They also care for each other so deeply, and it's just the most beautiful things. I really recommend this trilogy, and I'm very happy I read it. Obviously I will read it anyway though, because you know, Varshney Chakshi, but yay. And next one we have is the William Venton series, which was really difficult to hold. And this is one to be the most difficult to hold in this video. I feel like I should have sat down, but here we are. So this one is a Norwegian middle grade series, and it follows William Venton, who's really good at solving puzzles, which is kind of funny because the last series I just talked about, they also have to solve puzzles. And he finds out that his grandpa was also really good at this, and he starts this school where people solve puzzles. And then there's like this evil dude that is coming back. That's it. And it's 6 books, and it finally ended. I thought the 5th was the end, and it wasn't, and then the 6th came, and I finally read them all. Like, they're really fast-paced read for me, and I also think for kids though, because they're short, they're written in like a really fast-paced way. It was enjoyable. I think I liked the beginning much more than how the story went, because I feel like after a while it was just like, I don't know how to describe it, but it felt like the book wanted to do the same thing in every book. I don't know how to describe this. And then because of this, it kind of contradicts what's happened in the last book, where it feels like we are just restarting and doing like this fun thing again to make that new book interesting. But I'm like, but the things that happened, that just like didn't matter. I don't know how to describe that like inconsistency feeling inside of me. But obviously it's because maybe of the age group, people don't really think about that. And also I hated the ending, because it's the kind of ending that I really don't like. So that was a bit sad, but that's just my preference. I just don't, I hate those endings. But overall, like, a fun series. I think I will try to read them with my nephew when he's a bit older. I think he would like them. And yay, I read this long series that's not really long, but it's Norwegian. But also I think they're translated. At least the first few books are translated. So you could read them if you want to. My book holding skills did fail me. I can't hold anymore. If I had someone to put more on top, it will work out. But basically, I finished the Wheel of Time, and I only managed to carry 10 books because when I leaned down, they started to fall over. So we are just dealing with only holding 10 of them, of the 14. And yes, I finished Wheel of Time, which I just said. I made a whole video about what I felt about the series, so to be a bit briefer if you want to check that out. But I read this series over several years because I just took my time, I chilled, and I listened to audiobooks of all of them except the first one, because how else to get through them? Joking. And Wheel of Time, of course, follows these different, I was going to say kids, but I guess young adults in this village far out in the country, and then this Asadai shows up, which basically is a wizard, because I don't know, like, who would know what an Asadai is unless they read the books, and tells them that one of them is the Dragon Reborn and I need to come with her, and they're like, what? And the Dragon Reborn is destined to defeat the Dark One, and that's how the story starts out. Obviously it evolves a lot from there. Look at this pile, and there is 14 books plus a prequel, which I'm holding here on the bottom. I've like never read a series that's so long where you connect so much with the characters because you spend so long with them, and the development of that and just the world Robert Jordan created is amazing. Like, I feel like when I went back into the world, it felt so real in a way where like I kind of forgot it didn't exist. I don't know how to describe it. Like, you just dive in and you're like immersed in it, and it's amazing in that way. Even though I had some issues, you know, with writing and the pacing and stuff like that, it's still an amazing series with so many good parts that left me like, oh my god, it was amazing overall. I had a really great time with it, and I'm happy I read them, and I don't know why, but I want to reread them, but I need to tell myself that some of the books like didn't need to exist so long. They could have been merged together. That's all I gotta say. I finished it. I could talk more about it, but I'm gonna put these down and go to the next one. Oh my god, help me. I was gonna put them down. It didn't work out for me. The next one is much easier to carry because it's just a little trilogy, which is The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding by Alexander Bracken, and its sequel, The Lost Life of Prince Alastor. And basically, this is a military series, and we follow Prosper Redding, who is possessed by a demon. And then he talks to him and he's like, help, and he wants to get him out. And it's hilarious and really fun, getting to know his family and the reasons why this demon is inside of him. Prosper Redding is a great character, and the demon is like even greater. So I read the first one a few years ago and I really liked it. And then I read the sequel last year and I was like, has it been too long between of them? But I just ended up not enjoying this as much as this, while at the same time, like, it is overall just a fun series and I'm not regretting I read it. And it was good and fun. I don't have more to say. Then I finally finished The King Chronicles by Rick Riordan. So this is Rick Riordan's series based on Egyptian mythology compared to, you know, his other Greek mythology and Roman mythology ones. And I actually read the first book many years ago in Norwegian about it at the library. And then I never read the sequels, of course. So I reread all of it, like the first one, not all of it, and I read the rest of the series, and it was enjoyable and fun, just like you would expect from Rick Riordan. I feel like also there's room for more books in the series and how the third book ended, and hopefully we will see more of these characters again. I know there's like a short story, I know also it has a companion novel or two, but I'm just counting like this series as finished, since like I finished the trilogy while there is companion novels that do exist. But overall, I did enjoy it a lot in a Rick Riordan fashion, where you have lots of fun on adventure with these characters, learning about mythology, and yeah, I had a great time. I feel like now I'm going too fast, questioning everything. I done sadly, but also like amazingly finished Greenbone Saga, which I decided to carry in the super way. And yes, I decided to show off my Illuminate editions in a bad way as well. Look at the spines, look at that. And these is one of my favorite series of all time. I don't know what to tell you. I love it so much. Obviously written by Fauna Lee, and Jade Legacy came out last year, which is obviously why I finished it then. We are set on this island called Kekon, and this island is controlled by two clans mostly, and we follow one of the clans called No P Clan, which is controlled by the Call family. We follow that family. It's amazing. They are my precious children. I would die for all of them. This island is also the only place in the world that controls jade, which is like this magical substance you take and then, or you have on you, and then you get enhanced powers. There's a lot of like politics and stuff around the produce of jade and the selling of jade. The world finally created, the characters, how the characters are so deep. I don't know how to describe it, but like you expect them go in a certain way, but they don't. And just the story, I don't have words, I don't have sentences, I don't have any way to describe how much I love this series. And I feel like when talking about it and like describing the book, it doesn't like give it justice at all of how this series will make you feel and how it goes. And just like, oh my precious babies, I obviously will read this again and again because what else to do with my life to suffer. And it's just so good. I just cannot deal how good it is. Like 5 out of 5 stars for all of them. Obviously one of my favorites of all time. If you would ever read a book I would recommend, I would love for you to read this one. Like just one. Then read these. Also, they were very heavy, so there's that. I then have finished the Galleons Rising Trilogy by Kirsten White, and this is a retelling of the Arthurian legends, obviously, and this one we follow Guinevere instead of, you know, normally Arthur or Merlin, I would say. And we just follow her trying to protect Arthur and different twists and turns in the stories. And I really enjoyed it. I had a great time with it. My favorite would be the first one, but overall, like, I did enjoy the second one or the third one. I love how the story wrapped up. I love the characters, and obviously I just love the Arthurian legends. So it's like the kind of book for me, you know. And I love how Kirsten White decided to focus on the women of these stories that usually are not focused on, and I just had a great time. Okay, it was twisty and turny and romantic and just my heart. So I recommend it if you were curious about it. And I don't know why I'm holding it like this, but it just ended up like that. I then finished The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. Why is this so difficult? Oh, well, like this. And this, oh my god, is an adult fantasy series, and I really don't know how to describe this. Just set in this world, we follow lots of different point of views in different places of this world. A war is brewing. I don't know how to describe it more. Our main character is called Corbin. He is a young warrior who will grow. Yay. I don't know how to describe this series. And overall, I didn't really like it. It wasn't really for me. I feel like they were really long. That's a thing. But it was just, I feel like, what was the point in the end? Because I don't know how to describe it. I just feel like there was never a point in the story where I felt like I was surprised or shocked what was happening. I feel like there was no plot in a way. I know things happened, but it was just like, oh, we're going here, we're doing this, we're going here, we're doing this. Like, it was nothing that where we ever stopped and be like, wait, actually, we're not going to do that. I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't need to be like a one specific plot with anything like that. Nothing in story that was engaging me and making me feel like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Oh my god, I'm so interested in what's gonna happen. It just went in a straight line and then was over. And I was like, okay, it's a lot of filler. And I, like, why did we have so many poor V characters that didn't do anything? And I just, like, I didn't care, eventually. I didn't care. I wanted to care for some parts. And I did, briefly. In the end, when it was over, I was glad. I'm really sorry for people who enjoyed this series. I hope it was good for you. It just wasn't clicking with me. I feel like it should have been clicking with me, but it just wasn't. So, yeah. I don't know, but I would try out the author's other series, because I assume they're different. Maybe I will enjoy those more. Yay! I then finished Anna the French Kiss Trilogy, which is a YA contemporary romance series where we follow a different couple in every book, but they will, like, know each other in a way, are connected in a way. And I read the first book many years ago now. I think it's like been 6 years or something. And then the second one, not that long ago. And then the third one, I think it was actually this year. Wait, that's the third one. This is the third one. This is the second one, sorry. And I finally finished it. And obviously it's not like, I would say, like, it's a serious series. It's like you could technically read them all separate from each other. But obviously it's still the Anna and the French Kiss Trilogy. And I mean, it has cute parts. It definitely does, where you really cheer for the couples, etc. I will agree completely in that. But it also just feels like when there is drama and stuff, I'm just like, I feel old. I'm just like, why can't you just talk to each other? Why are you doing this to me? Obviously they're teenagers, I get that, blah blah blah. But I'm just like, when you create drama, it's also a bit sometimes like, okay. But yeah, it's romance books. I think they're cute, but that's it, kind of. And like, I don't mind reading them when I'm reading them, but it's not like I was dying to read them, you know what I mean? Also, you know, this one has lots of cheating in it, so you know that. Yay! A cute series, I guess. I then finished the truly Devious trilogy plus a standalone book, and I don't know if it's coming more standalone books, so if it is, then technically I didn't finish it, but I at least finished like the main trilogy, and then if it comes more, it comes more. I actually made a full reading vlog reading these, so you could check that out. But overall, this is a mystery thriller novels, and we are set in this school up in the mountain where a murder and a kidnapping happened a few years ago. We follow a main character that starts out at school like in present day, and she's gonna solve this. And there's murders, and there is mystery, and there is really great characters, and I really like them. I feel like if I was going to read like a murder mystery, etc., this is kind of ones I would do. I was so invested in knowing how things had happened, and I also really liked the standalone where it has a totally different mystery, but we follow the same characters, so we get, you know, like characters that has been established and we love, while, you know, having just a new mystery. Even though, like, of course I prefer the original mystery because this was just with me, but like I enjoy the book and the characters so much that it's fine. And yeah, I think it's a really solid series, and I really recommend it. It's lots of fun, and yay. I then finished this trilogy, A Song of Raisins by Rosanna A. Brown, and this one is a YA fantasy duology. And oh my god, how to describe the first one? So basically, the first one, we follow Malik and his family that are escaping to like the main city. And when they get there, a demon kidnaps his sister, and then to get her back, he needs to kill the princess called Katerina. Does it say in the flap? Katerina, you know, same shit. And we also follow her point of view where she's trying to like survive in the court. Her sister died a few years ago. Her mother is strict, but I was gonna say lovable, but yeah, it's a hard time. And then we just follow like that whole thing, and then there's also a magical, what's it called, a competition, which is great. And then the second book obviously follows the aftermath of the first book. Not gonna say much about that. I thought the books were really solid. It's inspired by West African folklore as well, which is really cool. And I just love how the world was created. I love how things were solved. I loved what the characters were meeting, and I just loved the magic. And yeah, it was a good ride. Even though like it has, you know, a bit of an enemies to lovers, I do think like when there's that kind of line, you also know how it's gonna go. But it was still a really enjoyable time. No regrets reading it. Lots of fun. Really recommend. Then we have another duology, which is Mirage by Samaya Dodd. And I read Mirage a few years ago, and then I read Court of Lions now. It's actually a YA sci-fi when I thought it was a fantasy. So there's that. And we are set in space where this one, I was gonna say entity, but this one dude had like taken over lots of other planets, like douchebags. And we follow our main character who is just kidnapped to be the princess's double because they look completely the same. And then the life and the plot just ensues for there. So there's romance, there's political intrigue, and other dramatic stuff happening. And I did really enjoy the first one, even though like I think romance was my least favorite aspect. But I like the relationships and the world, etc. And here we just wrap up the story, and it was a good time. Even though I feel like the 50 pages of this contradicted the end to this in a way that it was a big deal and then it was not. I actually cheered for romance here in this one too. So I don't know what happened to me. I got a heart in the time between 1 and 2. And yes, they did cover change. You can get the paperback that matches this if you want to. But I already had a hardback. The Fairlight edition, I think. So it ended up like this, but it's okay. It's okay. When this stand in the shelf, it looks like this. It's not the best, but I'll survive. But yeah, it's an enjoyable series, and I would recommend it. Then we have the Inheritance Trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. And this one is like a god series where we follow gods. And in the first book, our main character, Yeni, goes to like the capital of the city where the gods are. And she needs to go into the court. And it's a whole journey, just say it like that. And in the second and third book, we follow different characters that we saw off in the first one. And then it all just wraps up together. And it's just so good. It's so good. Sorry, I looked like I was gonna cry because I was just thinking about the series and the characters and the world. And you know, N.K. Jemisin is a marvelous writer, so what else would you expect? But just so solid, so good. Cannot like recommend more. I just had the greatest time. Just like how unique this series is. By the way, like the characters was written. I just love everything. Just could recommend all day long. And yeah, I love it so much. I want to reread it because it's so good, and I feel like I always miss something, you know. It's always like that. And I think it will be the greatest time when I do. Then we have another duology, which is this one. Sorry. So it starts with Queen of the Conquered, and the series itself is called Islands of Blood and Storm by Case and Calendar. And this series I like didn't love, but like I had adorable times with it. So the first book we follow Siguri Rose, and it's like we are set on like many different islands, and on these islands black people are enslaved. And then Siguri is black, but she is of the nobility because her mom married one of the noble dudes, and she feels like she wants to help the other slaves, but at the same time she's like trying to fit in with the nobles, and it's like a whole thing. She also can like control people with her mind, which is kind of cool. It has like magic in it, people have different abilities, and there's like court intrigue where they're going to choose the new ruler. She wants to become the new ruler so she can change things. Or does she? Is she just doing it for herself? It's a whole thing. And then in the sequel we follow the aftermath of what happened here. Can't say much about it, but I feel like a lot of how this ended was just like, what was the point? Are we just gonna sit here and be sad? I don't even know. That's all I got to say. But overall, like, I did find the first book interesting, seeing, you know, her reading minds. Did she even read minds? But she like controlled people, went into people's minds in a way, and it was like a whole thing. So yeah, it was interesting. The war was interesting in that way. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about the sequel. I don't know if I would recommend it, but it definitely had enjoyable parts. Like, I liked the first book, but because of the second book, I am unsure about the series. And the last series we're going to talk about today is Raybearer by Jordan Ifeeko, and this one is also a duology. And in this one we follow our main character Teresa, and she is told by her mother slash the demon queen that she needs to kill the prince's son as revenge for stuff he did, and then to do that she needs to go close to him. And all the kings in this land has like a thing, or emperors, kings, I don't remember, but they have this thing where they have a council that bonds with them through like this ray, and when they do that they can get protection against different deaths, but also they can read and like be in each other's minds. It's a whole thing, and she needs to like get close to him, come in that thing, or maybe kill him sooner. I don't actually remember, like, could she kill him before? Either way, the point is that then they need to love him for that to happen. So she needs to love him but also kill him, and it's a whole thing. And there's also many other things in the world that like it's a thing that they need to fix and stuff. And the first one is just so good. It's just so good, where I love the beginning, and then the end, like in the middle it dabbed a bit, but then the end is crazy, and then here we just follow up on that. And I really want to reread them, just because even though I just read the second one, but I want to reread them and just like read them right after one another and just experience the story again, because like it's one of the most like original, like what's it called, setups I read, and just how it's written and just the characters, it's just so good. Like just how the relationships works, how like this council thing works, the world, I don't have words. It's just so good. Recommend so much. It's all a duology, you know. It's easy to get through. One of my favorites, I would say. It's such a good time. So you should really read it. That's what I got to say about that. And that's 50 series for today. I already finished a few more, like starting on the new 15. So hopefully that will come later this year when I get my shit together. And yeah, I think I read a solid bunch, especially the Wheel of Time one. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Leave like a check mark emoji down below if you enjoyed this, and you will see me soon in a new video. Goodbye!